Black and gold fans, college football fans, welcome back or welcome in to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where we examine, discuss, honor, and celebrate all things college football across the entire college football landscape, but with a very special emphasis on our beloved black and gold squads of the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Welcome back, guys. I'm your host, Blair Parks, as usual, and this is my instant reaction and recap to the updated college football playoff rankings that were released earlier this evening, roughly about, 2 hours ago. The current rankings were released via the College Football Playoff Committee, so I just wanted to share with you my initial thoughts, comments, reactions on those rankings. You know what, guys, I gotta tell you, right before I came on the air, I did feel a little bit strange, maybe a little bit of bad juju. And no, it's not an Iowa hangover after the loss on Black Friday, the crushing, crippling loss at home in Kinnick to visiting Nebraska, which then spoiled our travel plans to Indianapolis to play in the Big Ten title game. It's not that bad juju. But now I realize I have never, ever in the history of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, ever done an episode in front of you without wearing cover. And here I am, for the first time, never having a hat. So that's what I forgot to grab. I'm sorry. I know it's already difficult, for you to pay attention and focus on this monstrosity. So hopefully it's a little bit of an improvement. I mean, that's all we can ask for, because I know you guys definitely don't tune in for your viewing pleasure. I know it's definitely for the listening pleasure of the channel. But before I go in depth with this episode, as usual, please, guys, subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment. Big Mo is on our side. The channel is growing very, very quickly. Everything is trending in the right direction, up with the views, the subscriptions, the comments, the likes, the shares, everything, guys. And that's all thanks to you, each and every one of you who are members of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Each one of you are my individual Heisman Trophy winners. But please, I need more subscribers, so please click if you like what you see and what you hear. Tell your fellow college football fanatics, your colleagues, your friends, your family, to check me out here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where all college football fans are welcomed and invited. You don't have to be a fan of the Black and Gold vlog to enjoy, because after all, nobody's perfect. This is a safe haven for all college football fans, and like always, you are the ones who drive and generate these episodes via your comments. So please comment in response to what you hear me say. If you agree, disagree with something that I've said, if you'd like me to maybe add this or that, please just let me know. All I ask is that we just be adults here. Can't we all just get along? And I promise you, I will get back to each and every one of you individually to your individual comment. All right, so as the normal, I'm going to go through the updated rankings, just the top 12, and then I'm going to kind of compare and contrast them to my projected top 12 that I typed up earlier this afternoon, basically based on how I would rank the top 12 in comparison to the committees. And also then at the end, I'm going to share with you just some general comments about the entire top 25. Like, for example, every week I have stated who I believe is overrated, who is underrated, who should not be ranked at all, period. And then teams who should be ranked that maybe got the shaft and got robbed. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And guys, I got to remind you, last week's college football playoff ranking reaction and recap, I informed you guys, and I've been saying this for multiple weeks, guys, that Ole Miss and Louisville had no business being ranked. And guess what? This week's rankings, they are out after losses. Ole Miss has been a fraud most of the second half of the season, now 8-4 after their loss on Thanksgiving night to in-state rival Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, in the Egg Bowl, and Louisville lost as well. Those two teams had no business being ranked last week. They are not on this week's list. And another team that I have been saying for weeks, guys, and I think some of you, actually the majority of you, unless you're a fan of the Tigers, I've been saying for weeks, guys, this LSU squad, highly overrated. I mean, were they really the 5th best team in the nation? That's where they were last week in these rankings. And what did they do over the weekend? Over rivalry weekend, guys? They lost to a 4-7 Texas A&M team that now does improve to 5-7, but they lost in College Station to the Aggies and the biggest fraud in the entire college football world, the nation, Coach Jimbo Fisher. So finally, they're exposed for what they are. They're sitting there now with 3 losses just because they are the division winner of the SEC West. Doesn't mean they have to be ranked in the top 5, all right? So I don't claim to know everything, guys. I've never said that. I never will. But I do know a thing or two about this great game. I just do, all right? So maybe you should listen to this guy right here. And also last week, some teams that I stated that were underrated, Kansas State, Tulane, and Oregon State. Guess what? They moved up in this week's rankings, all after notching big wins over the weekend. So, and then there was a team that I said last week should be ranked. Let's see if they are this week. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into it. So here are the updated top 12, the rankings via the College Football Playoff Committee. Starting with number 12 is Washington, number 11, Utah, number 10, Kansas State, the Wildcats, number 9, Clemson. Yeah, I got a little bit to say about that here in a brief minute. Number 8, Penn State, number 7, Tennessee, number 6, Alabama, number 5, Ohio State, number 4, USC, number 3, TCU, Michigan rises to the number 2 spot, and still number 1 are the Georgia Bulldogs. So the top 12, as far as the big movers, whether moving up or moving down, the big one moving down the wrong way is now number 5, Ohio State, who fell 3 spots from number 2 to 5 after being upset at home inside the Horseshoe by the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan climbs 1 spot to number 2, as I stated. TCU also moves up 1 spot from number 4 to number 3. Moving up 3 spots as well is Tennessee, Penn State, also Utah, and moving up 2 spots to number 10 is the Kansas State Wildcats. And Alabama also moved up 1 spot from 7 to 6 this week. And Clemson, after that loss at home, guys, I mean, Clemson now, they've got 2 losses on the season. They were kind of hanging out still in the top 10. They lost at home in the battle in the Palmetto State. They lost to the South Carolina Gamecocks in Death Valley, so there goes their 40-game win streak at home. But yet they only drop 1 spot from 8 to 9. Like I said, I'm going to have a little bit more of comment on that here in a little bit. So that is the top 12 according to the committee. Now here's the top 12 according to your boy, yours truly. So let me know, comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about my top 12. So to me, number 12 coming in is Florida State. Now, guys, I know I've been saying this for weeks. I've been bad-mouthing the ACC, but for good riddance. I mean, it's 2 hours ago, these rankings were released. I had time to have dinner with the wife and the kids, took my dog for a nice healthy walk outside, and basically what Milo left in my neighbor's lawn, that's basically what the ACC has been all season long. Hands down the worst Power 5 conference. But I've got Florida State number 12 because they have won 5 games in a row, and they do have that okay win over LSU in week 1. So that's how you make the climb. This late in the season, you just put together multiple wins and you'll climb. make the climb, like Lord Peter Baelish said from Game of Thrones. So Florida State's at 12. Number 11 is Utah. They now, with their victory over the weekend over Colorado, they've punched their ticket to the Pac-12 title game, and they'll take on USC this Saturday. Number 10, Washington. Good victory in the Apple Cup over Washington State over the weekend. Number 9, I've got Penn State, and I have them moving up 3 spots. They're one of my big movers this week. All they're doing, guys, once again, is they just keep winning. And that's all you have to do. Let chaos presume in front of you, and you're going to be left standing if you just win. And that's what the Nittany Lions have done. That's why I put them at number 9, but the committee had them at 8, so pretty close for the most part. Now, number 8 to me is the Kansas State Wildcats, guys. I mean, yes, they're 9-3. They've got 3 losses, but they're all legit losses. All of them are to ranked teams, and the Big 12 is the deepest, most competitive conference in college football this year. And Kansas State, with their victory over the weekend over in-state rival Kansas, they punched their ticket to the Big 12 title game to take on TCU this weekend. So I'm bullish on Kansas State. I mean, this is a team that TCU has got to be ready for, guys, because they are absolutely capable of taking down the Horned Frogs. They did play earlier this season down in Fort Worth. Was a very competitive game for 3 quarters, but then TCU was able to get a little bit of separation. Can't wait for that one this weekend. Number 7, I've got Alabama moving up 2 spots because they did dominate in the Iron Bowl, but they're no longer in the discussion, guys. That's why I can't have them in the top 4 or one of the first 2 teams out. I just can't. And plus, I've got other stuff to say about Alabama. I'm going to hold off, just pause what I need to say about Alabama. So I've got Bama at number 7 up 2 spots. Number 6, I've got Tennessee up 1 spot after their shellacking of their in-state rival Vanderbilt. I believe that they did shut them out, I believe. One-sided victory without Heisman candidate Hendon Hooker. So big-time bounce-back victory for Tennessee after getting throttled 2 weeks ago at South Carolina. Number 5, the first team out after that loss at home to Michigan. I've got Ohio State down 3 spots, just like the committee had them. Number 4, I've got USC, just like the committee has them, up 1 spot from last week. So now at this point, the men of Troy would be in the college football playoff, both to me and to the committee. Now, number 2 and 3. Now, this is where a little bit of debate might start. And no disrespect to either Horned Frog fans or Maize and Blue fans. I love y'all. But number 3 to me, I've got Michigan. And to me, that's up 1 spot from last week. Last week, I had them the number 4 seed. So they do move up 1 spot over that very impressive victory over Ohio State. So number 2, I've got TCU up 1 spot from last week from 3 to 2, just because when you look at the overall resume and data points, granted that Michigan win against Ohio State may be the biggest, best win of the year, but still, the Big 12 conference, is so much better than the Big 10. It just is. That right now the Big 10 is the Big 2 and little 12. It just is. And TCU, as far as the remaining undefeated teams, guys, they have the best percentage. As far as the record, the strength of schedule is still, hands down, the best is TCU's profile. 5 victories over ranked opponents, going undefeated in regular season. So I think TCU should be the number 2 team in the nation. So let's let the debate begin. And then obviously number 1, just like the committee, I've got the Georgia Bulldogs, who were very convincing in their beatdown of Georgia Tech during their rivalry game over the weekend. So for the most part, primarily a lot of similarities, maybe a little bit of fluctuation between my top 12 and the committee's top 12, but overall, I'm satisfied with theirs for the most part. So now I want to get into some comments as far as who's overrated, underrated, who shouldn't be ranked, who needs to be ranked. Let's get into that right now. So first of all, and please comment, let me know what you think. Let's start with who I believe is overrated in this week's updated college football playoff rankings. And now we start from lowest to highest as far as rankings. I got to start with number 9, Clemson, guys. I mean, I already made the reference that the ACC is dog shit. It just is. I mean, in case you didn't get my reference earlier, I'll say it in plain English. It's absolutely brutally bad. It's hard on the eyes. There is no team that really wants to separate itself and definitely wants to show that they're the best. So Clemson in defeat only drops 1 spot. I mean, I don't get that. And coming in, yes, South Carolina has played much better ball. I mean, 2 weeks ago they took down top 10 Tennessee. So back-to-back weeks, they take out 2 top 10 ranked teams, but they still came in with 4 losses. And one of those is to Missouri. I believe another one was to Arkansas. So they don't have really great losses. So that, I don't understand why the committee is still in love with this Clemson Tiger team. I really don't. I mean, they don't have a legitimate non-conference victory at all. I mean, they got absolutely pushed around, embarrassed in South Bend by Notre Dame. So I just don't get why they're hanging out in the top 10, only down 1 spot. So I believe they're very overrated. And now, I'm going to be a little bit careful with what I say about the next team that I believe is overrated. Before I do that, I'm going to get a quick swig of water. Okay. So, do they deserve to be a top 10 team? Absolutely. But number 6 via the committee, I'm talking about the Alabama Crimson Tide. All right, I'm going to say this right now. Are they a top 10 team? Yes. I've got them number 7, but that's as high as they should go until the conclusion of championship weekend, this weekend, to see what teams lose in front of them, if any. So until then, they can't be on the first page of these rankings. They have no right to be. They haven't earned it, okay? Because right now, Tennessee should be number 6, and that's where I have them because they beat Alabama straight up. Both Alabama and Tennessee have 2 losses, 10-2. Tennessee beat Alabama straight up, okay? And Alabama also lost to LSU, who I've already kind of mentioned, I think is highly overrated, big time. So I don't see why Alabama can be ahead of Tennessee. Yes, I get it because Hendon Hooker is now out for the remainder of the season. He played during the matchup earlier this season in Knoxville, one of the best moments of the year, the walk-off field goal winner for the Volunteers. So maybe that's why the committee wants to hold Tennessee back a little bit. But I think right there, that's an easy way out. That's a cowardly move right there. That's Bush League. Tennessee needs to be ahead of Alabama. They have the same record, and they beat them head-to-head. They have no business. And plus, when you look at Alabama's schedule, guys, and their record and their wins, what really is their best win? Is it over a 4-loss Ole Miss team? Is it over a 4-loss Texas team, which, remember, they kicked a walk-off field goal as time expired to win that game? Is it against the 5-7 A&M squad who, oh yeah, remember A&M had the ball on the Alabama, 12-yard line, and they couldn't get in the end zone as time expired. I mean, what is their best win? Is it over a 5-7 Auburn team? Who did they really beat? They lost to LSU. They lost to Tennessee. I don't really know why people are so high on this Alabama team. I don't really understand it, guys. And they were very lucky also to win that Ole Miss game down in Oxford. That could have been a loss as well. So I don't get it. I have no idea why Tennessee is behind. Granted, just 1 spot, but Tennessee should be number 6, not Alabama. Okay? Alabama fans, let me know what you think. SEC fans, all you college football fans, can't wait to hear from you guys. Subscribe, like, share, comment, let me know what you think. So those are the teams that I think are overrated in this week's college football rankings. Now, who's underrated? I already said this. It's the same teams that I said last week. I'm talking about number 18, Tulane. All they do is win. They're 10-2. They punched their ticket over the weekend with a big-time road win at Cincinnati, which proved to be Luke Fickell's last game as head coach at Cincinnati. Congratulations, Coach Fickell and Wisconsin Badger fans and program. He's now the new head coach up in Madison. Great hire for the Badgers, by the way. So big-time victory for Tulane. So they will face off with UCF this weekend in the American Athletic Championship game against UCF, a team that they beat. Well, actually, I think UCF beat them earlier this year, but that's it. I can't wait to see that game either, guys. So Tulane is still being disrespected. They should be a top 15 team. Next, speaking of number 15 Oregon State. I mean, last week I believe they were number 21, and you guys know I've been all about the Beavers this year. They've been so close. It's going to be a season of so close. What could have been? All they did over rivalry weekend, guys, is knock out Oregon. Top 10 Oregon goes down in Corvallis at the hands of the Beavers. And with that loss, Oregon then saw its dreams of playing in the Pac-12 title game evaporate, just like Iowa's did for the Big Ten title game, unfortunately. So Oregon Duck fans, Oregon players, I feel your pain. So big-time win for Oregon State. I mean, and this is a team that lost by 3 earlier this year to both USC and at Washington. Washington was a walk-off field goal winner. So if they would have won one of those 2 games, they'd find themselves in the Pac-12 title game. So this Oregon State team, guys, they might be they're not the best 3-loss team in the nation. I still think Kansas State is the best 3-loss team, but I absolutely think Oregon State should be ranked ahead of LSU, who's got 3 losses, and they're not. That's a shame right there. This Oregon State team has a better profile. They're a better team than LSU. They just are. I'm sorry. Another team, number 10, Kansas State. Granted, they're finally in the top 10. They are going the right direction via the committee. But you heard me. I've got them in my rankings, number 8. I think this team is the real deal. Yes, 3 losses, but hands down the best 3-loss team in the nation, without a doubt. So I still think they could be a little bit higher. And I actually think Kansas State should be above Penn State and Clemson. I think via the committee. I think that's a travesty that K-State is behind Penn State and Clemson. It just is. It just is. So that's my underrated teams in this week's college football rankings. Now, next one is who I believe should not be ranked. Who is on this top 25 list that has no business being there? I got 2 teams, all right? And I just told you earlier this episode. Last week I said Ole Miss and Louisville had no business being ranked. And what do? They lose over the weekend. Good riddance. I've been saying that for weeks, especially about Ole Miss beating nobody, and they haven't all year. But this week, number 25, NC State. 2 weeks ago, when NC State was ranked, I said at that point, why the hell are these guys ranked? They're a mediocre mid-level ACC squad. And then what did they do the week after I said that? They lost. But yet, because over rivalry weekend, they took care of their in-state rival, North Carolina, in Chapel Hill. So now they find themselves ranked once again. It's like these Power 5 conferences, they have to have a quota. Like, we have to have X amount of teams find a way to get ranked. So I don't know why the hell they're ranked again. They don't deserve it. They're sitting there 8-4. I mean, the only really good win they have all year is against Florida State, and that was really a gifted win given to them by Florida State on a really bad decision by their quarterback basically at the end of the 4th quarter. So they've got no business being ranked. Do the Wolfpack. I love them. They're one of my favorite mascots in all the nation, but come on. You shouldn't be ranked. NC State fans, you know that too. You shouldn't be ranked. And the other team, you guys know I'm high on them. They made me some money. And by the way, next year during my bold predictions episode, you guys should pay attention to my best bet win totals, because guess what? Every single one of them that I told you about, I put money on, and each and every one of them came through. So now my wallet is a lot fatter. That's great, especially with the Christmas holiday right around the corner. But Mississippi State, and they were one of the teams I took. Their over-under was 6.5. I told you guys take the over. They got to their 8 wins. Good victory on Thanksgiving night over a ranked but shouldn't have been ranked Ole Miss squad. So 8-4, that's a great season for the Pirate Mike Leach, and you guys know that I love me some quarterback Will Rogers. He's young. He'll be back next year. Hopefully he doesn't transfer out. I don't foresee that. The guy is definitely going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate next year. So 8-4, really good record, great season for the Bulldogs down there in Starkville. But then again, they don't really have a good win either. I mean, yeah, they've got 8 wins, but look, they lost to Alabama, they lost to LSU, they lost to Georgia, and they lost to Kentucky, I believe, as well. So don't really have a good victory. They don't. I don't understand. The quota, once again, it's got to be filled. So I'm sorry, State fans, I love you, but Mississippi State, you have no business being ranked either. And if you're a fan base of NC State or Mississippi State, I love to hear your opinions. Make a state your case. Opening argument. Why do you think you guys believe to be ranked? I love to hear from you. Now, so who I believe should be taking the spot of those 2 teams? I think these 2 teams should be ranked, and I think it's a travesty that they're both not. Now, the team that I mentioned last week they were 9-2. They won over the weekend. They're now 10-2. I'm talking about the UTSA, the Roadrunners, 10-2 overall, 8-0, a perfect record within Conference USA. I mean, all these guys do is win. I mean, they blitzkrieged through their conference, guys. They're 10-2, and plus they've won 9 straight games. Why are these guys not ranked? And they've got one of the best quarterbacks that you know nothing about, quarterback Frank Harris down there in San Antone, one of the best kept secrets. This guy is going to be in the NFL very, very soon. I promise you that. So UTSA should be ranked. I don't know why they're not. They deserve it more than NC State or Mississippi State. And the other team that, it's because I've been very fond of them all year, okay? Because I want you guys to understand, and I think you do, if you know the whole backstory about this team, about just how difficult it was for most programs to do this, but to them, it was just business as usual. I'm talking about the 8-3 James Madison University Dukes. They're 8-3. They had a big-time victory over the weekend. I mean, they absolutely throttled Sun Belt powerhouse Coastal Carolina. Now, I know Coastal was without quarterback Grayson Mullet McCall, but still, the final score 47-7. So that then made James Madison 6-2 within the Sun Belt Conference, and we all know how good they've been. And the reason why I'm so high on this team is, if you recall, or if you don't know, that in the offseason, they transitioned from the FCS level, the lower division of Division I, to NCAA Division I. And this wasn't a planned move. A lot of the times when this has happened, they've planned this, 3, 4, 5 years in advance. This just happened on a whim. They were a powerhouse in the FCS level. They made the step up because they saw the opportunity to join the Sun Belt. And 8-3, 6-2 in conference, your first year at the upper level of Division I, that is a big-time accomplishment. So they should be ranked. Not only did they beat down and just absolutely dismember Coastal Carolina, but earlier this year, the other Sun Belt royalty and darling, Appalachian State, which we all know what they've done, upsetting Michigan before in the Big House, just laying down that embarrassing loss earlier this season to top 10 ranked Texas A&M. I love that moment, one of my best moments this season, watching the fraud lose. So they also beat Appalachian State earlier this year. The two best brands within the Sun Belt, they dispatched their first season at the Division I level. They've got to be ranked. And the sad thing is hopefully this doesn't go, this isn't forgotten about, because this stupid NCAA rule, I ask all of you to petition. Let's march. Let's gather our voices. Let's get the mob together. Write your congressman, your congresswoman. Because of this stupid NCAA rule, whenever you transition from FCS to NCAA Division I, you have to wait 2 years before you can participate in a bowl. So technically, James Madison won their division in the Sun Belt. Both them and Coastal went 6-2, but they beat them head-to-head. They should be playing in the Sun Belt title game, but they can't even do that because the stupid NCAA rule, it's got to be banished. We've still got time to at least get them in a bowl game. Let's get it done. So please, next week, UTSA, you win, you're going to be ranked, you need to be, and let's get James Madison ranked. They need to do it. They deserve it. So that's it, guys. That's pretty much what I've got this week. I got to wrap it up here. I know my voice kind of carries. That's what people tell me, and my daughter and son are going to be going to bed here real shortly, so I don't want to keep them up. But, oh, that was fun. I mean, I can't wait for Conference Championship weekend is upon us. I can't wait to see that this weekend. Make sure to look for me on Thursday. I'm going to have my big, uber important Conference Championship preview and picks episode. Should be posted middle to late afternoon for your viewing and listening pleasure. But come on, I know the honest truth is your listening pleasure, because once again, that's enough said right there. So definitely want to check that out to see what I think, how these conference title games are going to go and who's going to be hoisting the trophies and raising banners next season and bring home the chip. Definitely want to tune in for that on Thursday. So until then, guys, please subscribe, like, click, comment, do everything you can. I want to hear from you, the entire college football fandom universe. Let me know what you think. If there's something on your mind, even if it's something that wasn't covered in this episode, fire away. I want to hear your questions. I want your opinions, your thoughts, anything. Let me know. And as always, thank you for all you've done for the channel and what you will continue to do. I appreciate everything that you do. And once again, gracias, dankeschön, origato, merci beaucoup. Thanks. So until Thursday, guys, enjoy the rest of your night and catch me later this week. Thank you for joining me on this special episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog. See you Thursday. Bye-bye.